This is the video tutorial for Photoshop lesson layers. So you're going to start off with this Schoology page and picking out one of these pictures. Now of course you can use other photographs for this effect, and that is entirely up to you, but these are all high resolution images that I've set up. So let's go ahead and pick one. You pick it by clicking on it, and it will load and allow you to download the image into your downloads folder. From there, we can open up Photoshop, click Open on the right, and scroll until we find that image. So there we have it, the image. So now the next thing that we're going to do is use our type tool. So our type tool is down here on the bottom left. It's when you hover over it, it's called horizontal type tool, and hovering over it shows you what it does. So we're going to go ahead and create a text. I'm going to call it Clover. And when you use the type tool, at first it might be really small. When you highlight it, you can change things about your type up here in the options bar. You can change what it looks like. You can change the style, and you can change the size. Now the drop-down menu only goes up to 72, but you can type in a bigger number if you want. And then over here you can change the color of the text. I'll go ahead and do kind of a light green. Let's say it's still too small for me. I can do Command T, and I can make it larger. Now that was Command T, or you can get there by going to Edit, Free Transform. When you're done transforming it, just hit Return on your keyboard or the check mark box up top. Now there we have it. Now the next step is to take a look down here. Down here in your Layers panel, you'll see now that you have two different layers. One layer is your background, and that's your photograph, and one layer is the text. If I click on the eyeball, it hides and shows the layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower the opacity of the Clover layer. And to do that, you have to make sure the Clover layer is selected. Come up here to opacity, and I'm going to lower it to about 50% so that I can see the leaves behind it, so I know what to erase. Now we're not actually erasing it, we're adding a mask. And to add that mask, you're going to come down here to the bottom right corner where you see this rectangle with a hole through it. If you click on that, that's going to add a white box to the layer. And we want this on the text layer. Command Z to undo if you were on the wrong layer. Command or Control Z to undo. So now that we're sitting here and we have this, we need to mask out parts of the layer. To mask out parts of the layer, we're going to use our brush. Our brush tool is at the right of the screen, the left of the screen, and it looks just like a brush. We want the hardness, so going up here to the options of the brush, we want the hardness to be 100%, and the size, well, I might start at 50, but we're going to change the size as we work. Now, if you come down to the bottom of the toolbar, you'll see white on top of black or black on top of white. But if you don't see black and white, go ahead and hit the button up here that says black and white or shows black and white, or D on your keyboard to default. There's an arrow button next to it that switches your colors. If you hit X on your computer, it does the same thing. So with black and this layer mask, white rectangle selected, I can actually come in here and start painting out parts of the Clover. If you go too far, hit X on your computer or switch to white to paint some of it back in. So I'm going to hit X to mask, and so black masks and white reveals. Again, I'm just going to hit white back. You don't have to be a perfectionist with this though at all. It's definitely up to you how much you want to hide and how much you want to show. I like finding the leaves that only go over the letters just a little bit. Or you could try doing one that goes over it entirely. That's up to you. You can also Command Z to undo as well. Again, you can keep changing the size of your brush as you go along if you find that one is too big or too small. I also just want to friendly remind you, it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. This is practice. If it was a summative project, I'd want you to really take your time on it. So we're just going to go through and clean this up until you are satisfied. So I'm just going to do a couple more, at least one on each letter, to make it really look like it's working. Nope, that's not how that one works. Do, do, do. Almost done. Oops, went a little far. I hit X on my computer to kind of bring back some of that. All right. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. So if you come over here, you'll notice that there are some black spots. Those are the parts that are hiding. Now, if you're wondering how I zoomed in and out, to zoom in, it's Command plus. To zoom out, it's Command minus. Or you can use the magnifying tool here to scroll in and out. When you're done, go ahead and change the opacity back to 100%. Command 0 to zoom all the way out. It's a quick way to do it. And there you have it, your fancy typography. File, save as. You can save it as a Photoshop document if you want to continue to edit it later. That will keep your layers editable. Or just to submit it to, and then save again as a JPEG to submit to Schoology. JPEGs are web-ready formats. I'm going to call it Clover Mask. Hit save. Hit OK. Now the one thing is I may not have actually seen where I saved that. So if I go back here, oops, I can't submit because I'm a teacher. Let's say I hit the submit button and this pops up. I probably accidentally saved it in my downloads because that's where the original photo came from. Try to make sure you save it in a place where you'll remember it. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know.